Did it.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to interview number 2 of 2 tonight. Tonight, we're turning the tables a little bit, and Nathan's going to be a little bit nicer. And we're going to welcome our guest, Mr. Daryl Cline from DC Productions. This man is very talented. We're going to kind of do a little bit of a different interview because he does comedy, he does MMA, he does actors, he does wrestlers. So, welcome to the show, Daryl, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Anthony, Nathan, and Pat for having me on the show tonight.
You're very welcome.
Yes. So, who were some of your wrestling heroes growing up?
Wow, great to tell. Great question. So, some of my wrestling heroes that I really enjoyed were Nikolai Volkov, Iron Sheik, Big John Studd, and King Kong Bundy.
Great choices.
Can you give us a list of your top 5 favorite managers?
Yes, number one would be Lou Albano. Number two would be Freddie Blassie. Number three, let's see, Lou Albano, Freddie Blassie, Jimmy Hart. Let's see, who else? The Wizard and Slick.
Ooh, nice. I'm glad you said the Wizard. A lot of people don't remember him.
Yeah,
And they
he's
should.
definitely he's definitely an old school wrestler, and I'm an old school wrestling fan.
So, we also know that you've done some stuff in the music business. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've been in the music and entertainment business for 35 plus years. I actually book celebrities, do a lot of incredible stuff, have worked with incredible people. About 10 years ago, I started the Legends of Wrestling comedy show where I'd have old school professional wrestlers come out. They would perform on my stage. I've owned a bunch of nightclubs. They would perform on my stage. They would tell their best road stories, and I would have comedians open up for them, and also they would entertain the fans and so forth. But really incredible journey I've been on. My first show, if you'd like me to tell you, I would love to tell you and share some information with you, was a sold
Absolutely.
out. So my first show I booked for the Legends of Wrestling comedy show was with Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Hmm.
So Brutus the Barber Beefcake decided not to show up, which was really crazy. I don't want to go into details and bash him, but nonetheless, the show must go on. So I had the great late Nikolai Volkov come out, and he actually did an incredible job. And after Nikolai Volkov, all the doors ended up opening up with all the professional wrestlers. And one thing I can tell you, if you do good business, you're going to get good business in return. And I'm a man of that. I've worked with some incredible, incredible talent. Uh, Bushwhacker Luke is one of them. Jimmy Hart, Teddy Long, Chris Masters, Eugene, Zach Gowen. The list goes on. So, I mean, I have made some incredible, incredible friends and put on great shows. Also, I have a magazine called DCPW, which is DC Professional Wrestling. And as well, I work with AWA, which is Assault Alliance Wrestling, here based out of Maryland. So I do a lot of bookings for old school professional wrestlers. I own a lot of different businesses, but mostly music and entertainment. And wrestling is one of my favorite things in the world. As a young person, my grandmother and also my aunt took me to my first match back in 1980, where I saw Hulk Hogan performed here in Maryland, Largo, Maryland, at the Capitol Center. So I fell in love with wrestling then, and it was incredible being able to mature and really suck in and be able to meet all the professional wrestlers that I grew up watching and being able to become friends with them. And so Coco Beware, he's an incredible guy. The list goes on. I can name drop all day long, but it's been one heck of a journey, and I'm very happy to have my feet planted and working with all the professional wrestlers and talent around the world.
And I noticed looking at your Facebook earlier that you are working with the Great Khali or have worked with the Great Khali.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I do a lot of bookings for these guys. So what I do is I send out feelers. So a lot of these guys, they love to come out and sign autographs and do guest appearance. So I have a great colleague who we're looking actually to do some bookings for him here in the United States. Demolition, Tito Santana, the list goes on. But yes, great colleague. I had the chance to really speaking to a lot of these professional wrestlers and becoming good friends with them. Bushwhacker Luke is probably one of the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. I've been able to talk to him probably at least once or twice a month just to keep updated. I had a good friend who owned Micro Championship Wrestling, which is the midget wrestling, and his name was Johnny G. He passed away a few years ago, but Hulk Hogan helped him get started with the midget wrestling, and it was on TV and so forth. And I had an opportunity to buy Micro Championship Wrestling from Hulk Hogan and Johnny G and everybody, but I turned down the offer. It was just too much for me. So, I coincide with Bushwhacker Luke, who's going to partner up with me and some other professional wrestlers, and we're still looking to do something. Right now, I am looking for little professional wrestlers. I'd like to have little divas as well, where we have the women little people wrestlers as well. So I'm definitely looking for that, and just trying to really brand my company and keep it moving.
Well, I'm sure you're going to do wonderful things with
Mark.
that because the midget wrestling's always, an entertaining genre to get into.
Yes, yes, it is. I'm actually trying to book El Torito, who has wrestled against Hornswoggle. So I'm actually looking forward to booking him in a few months. I have Sandman coming in for AWA next month on May 27th here in Hollywood, Maryland as well. So I do a lot of incredible bookings for people and, make sure that they're taken care of. I actually run a security agency as well. So I make sure that, anybody that I'm working with is protected at all times.
Very cool because that's very important.
That it is.
Could you tell us a little more about um, your organization?
Yeah, so like I said, DC Productions has been in the works for 35 plus years. I am, I would say, the plug here in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, what we call the DMV area. So it's called the DMV area because it's a tri state: DC, Maryland, Virginia. And it's funny because a good friend of mine who was a hip hop artist about 10 years ago came up with the saying DMV, and now everybody says, "Hey, I'm from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area," and the newscasters and everything. So the guy that started this, his name is 20 Bello. He's a hip hop artist here in the area. But he started that saying about 10 years ago, and everybody goes by that. So me, I own several businesses. I own DCPW, which is a wrestling magazine, but eventually will end up becoming its own identity as far as training center and also working with professional wrestlers. So I'm actually recruiting new up and coming wrestlers to come out and work with us and, train and be able to eventually just do their own thing and get them signed on to major wrestling promotions and help them out, So I actually have several magazines. I've been doing magazines since 2007, interviewing celebrities. And DCPW magazine was an incredible magazine. I still have that. And I've interviewed a lot of great wrestlers. Tony Atlas, Coco Beware, Bushwhacker Luke, Jimmy Hart, Teddy Long, the list goes on. So I'm always looking forward to interviewing and putting, more wrestlers, up and coming wrestlers in the magazines and highlighting them. One of your guests you all had on was, I believe, Gino.
Mhm.
And I actually did an interview with him and put him in our magazine as well. Great guy. And I loved interviewing him. He's just a wonderful person.
Yeah,
Yes.
as
Yes,
did
he is.
we. He was awesome.
Yes.
Uh, I think he's probably going to be the one that explodes next of
Yes, yes.
independent.
Absolutely. Great guy.
Um, I do have a question about Coco Beware though. When you interviewed him, did he bring the bird with him or?
No, he didn't bring the bird, but what was really cool about the whole thing is I actually had him get up on my stage and he told his road stories, and then we played some music, and he actually was dancing and singing and stuff to the Temptations on my stage, which was really cool. I made him get up on the stage. He didn't want to go. I said, "Get up there and dance," and he had a blast. The crowd went crazy seeing him up there dancing. And then another guy that I've had out is Ben Abyss. And Abyss is an incredible person as well. I'm good friends with Abyss. And, like I said, Bushwhacker Luke is probably one of my closest friends. And before that, Nikolai Volkov was just an incredible guy. It was funny. I had Nikolai Volkov out to my first show with the Legends of Wrestling comedy show. And I had him sit in my office and wait till the show began. And it was funny. I told him, I said, "You can sit in here and watch TV." And I gave him the remote control. And the guy's such a gentleman. It was funny because I went back in and I said, "Nikolai, how come you're not watching TV, in the office?" He said, "I can't get the TV to work." Well, what the problem was is I gave him the wrong remote control. So he was trying to use a remote control that wasn't even to that TV. It was really funny, but what a great guy. Yeah, he was a wonderful guy, and rest in paradise to Nikolai Volkov. It was just such a pleasure meeting him, and like I said, he was one of my childhood favorites. Him and the Iron Sheik were just incredible. Everything they did was just a great thing.
Yeah, even his work with like Sergeant Slaughter when they kind of flipped them two around and made Nikolai the American sympathizer
Oh yeah,
was beautiful work.
yeah. Another one of my favorites is actually Zach Gowen. Zach Gowen is just an incredible person. Have you all had the opportunity to meet him yet?
No, that's one person I would love to meet. Personally, to me, that was kind of one of my inspirations to go into like doing something in wrestling because seeing somebody with just one leg made me think, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. So
Yes, he told me a great story when he came out. He entertained us at my club when we did the Legends of Wrestling comedy show, and he said that he had gotten to one of the wrestling matches. I believe it was either Bret Hart or Honky Tonk Man, and the whole thing was they were supposed to pull off his prosthetic leg and hit him with it, but for some reason they were pulling on the wrong leg the whole time, and he kept on telling them that's not the prosthetic leg. So that was a really funny story that he told. I was just, I was amused by that one that they would, pull on the wrong leg, but really great guy.
that is funny because what are you supposed to do? Wrong one.
Yeah, that's right.
Grab the other one.
That's right. The other thing is I had Chris Masters. Y'all are familiar with Chris Masters, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
I had Chris Masters out at my club where we did the Legends of Wrestling comedy show, and he was telling his road stories. And a friend of mine who's a comedian, Candy Basie, came out, and it was funny because she played a rib on Chris Masters. So she had saw Chris Masters a few years prior to doing the show, and she actually brought her son out. And she played a rib on Chris Masters, like, "Chris, I need to talk to you about something." And I said, "Chris, she needs to talk to you." And he's like, "What?" And she said, "Well, a long time ago, I saw you, and I came to one of the shows you were at, and we hooked up. And this is actually your son." And his face turned beet red. He was freaked out. And then we had to tell him like about 20 minutes later that she was just kidding, but he didn't know what to think. The kid even went along with it. It was funny as you could never even imagine how funny it was. But yeah, we played a heck of a rib on him, and it was funny. But then we tried to do the same thing to Abyss when Abyss came to my club, and Abyss was like, "Cool, I'm cool with having a kid," and it was too funny. So really cool though.
Yeah, I never thought Abyss got the love he deserved in the wrestling business. You know what I mean? Like he should have been like at least in the WWE, at least for one run. I know he worked there as a producer, but
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I believe he's still with the WWE right now doing some stuff. So I know
yeah,
he's
I
I know
believe so.
I think he's behind the scenes doing stuff with them.
Yeah. Whoa.
What happened? Did we lose him? What the
Uh,
hell?
Maybe he got a phone call or something. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Hopefully, our guest will be back with us here in just a second. Tomorrow night, CPW, Media Scrum, and SOS. At 7 p.m. will be SOS. At about 6 o'clock will be Media Scrum. We'll come on and do some sort of a show on Sunday. And then Monday we'll bring in the month of May, and we've got exciting interviews in the month of May.
Yeah, some of them after the interview we did earlier today, I'm a little bit more worried about, but
we've got Chad Rico. We've got Chad Rico leading off the 1st of May, followed by Blake Daniels. Then we've got a double interview on Wednesday the 3rd. There he is. Let me see if I can get him back in. There we go. And you're back.
Okay.
I guess that's a West Coast thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
We'll blame it on the West Coast.
We'll blame it. We'll take it.
There you go.
And that all works. It's been a lot warmer over here than normal. Maybe that had something to do with it.
There you go. Well, it's pouring down rain like I'm in Seattle right now here in Washington, D.C. area.
Oh.
Hey, so we switched.
Yeah. Well, I think
normally it's raining over here. It was.
Yep, you guys probably gave me this weather. Yeah, it rained all day here.
So can you tell us a little bit about the assault promotion that you said you run? Yeah,
so this is a fairly brand new promotion. They're called Assault Wrestling Alliance, and I've actually booked. Let me see. Their first show last year, I booked Tony Atlas. Tony Atlas is a nut. Have you ever met Tony Atlas?
No, would love to though.
Mr. USA Tony Atlas. He was a tag team partner with late Rocky Johnson, who I was actually friends with as well. But Tony Atlas is incredible. I do some bookings for him, bring him into town. But the only thing is I'm built like a professional wrestler, but not to like where your body's all unique and stuff. So I'm more built like probably like Captain Lou Albano back in the day. But what's funny is I bring Tony Atlas to bring him into town for AWA last year and bring him into town quite frequently. And he likes to work out. The guy's incredible. He's 70 years old, likes to work out. But the problem is he likes to work out at 5 o'clock in the morning. So he'll call me at 5 o'clock in the morning. He says, Daryl, I need to talk to you. I said, about what? And he said, can you meet me at the hotel? I said, what's wrong? He said, I need you to work out with me. I'm like, no, I'm okay, Tony. Thank you, though. So he likes to put that off on me. But so he's done some performances and appearances for AWA. And on May 27th, we have Sandman coming out. And I can't remember who else. I booked a bunch of different talent for them. So, I mean, they have a bunch of different people coming out, but it's a great promotion. They're actually doing some steel cage matches. I believe the whole show on the 27th of May in Hollywood, Maryland is nothing but steel cage. So it's a fairly new promotion, but they're really, really good and professional. And, you know, I couldn't ask for a better people to work with. They're really good people.
Very cool.
Do you have any rivalries in your company yet?
Do I have any what?
Rivalries.
Rivalry.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not yet. Not that I know of.
Well, with some of the guys you've told us you've booked, those would be some hell of a rivalries, one way or the other.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true. Yeah, all the guys that I've booked have just been great, down-to-earth people. You know, every single one has been incredible. I tell you, a really good friend of mine is D'Lo Brown. What a great guy. You know, he's an incredible guy. You know, he's got a heck of a past, but you know, just to know him and be able to speak to him on the phone occasionally and see how he's doing. And it's funny, he's a Libra as well. I'm a Libra, October 12th, and I believe he is the 16th of October. So just a very down to earth guy. Jimmy Hart is incredible. Jimmy Hart. It was funny. After the show, we actually went out to eat, and he wanted to go, and he's very down to earth. He just wanted a bowl of tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich, you know, which I thought was funny. Yeah, I was like, that's all you want to eat? And he was like, yeah, just what a great guy. You know, Jimmy Hart is just incredible.
And one of the best minds in professional wrestling too.
Yes, yeah, he's incredible, and just all his tag team, you know, all the wrestlers that he's worked with, you know, personally when he managed them, and you know, being their hype man was just you know just incredible. He's a heck of a showman.
Very much so, and a good singer.
Yeah, yeah. So he says.
Um, you mentioned you did some stuff with Hulk Hogan. Do you have any good or bad stories about him?
Well, no, I haven't had the opportunity to work with Hulk Hogan. I had a chance to purchase Micro Championship Wrestling from them.
Got it.
But no, I haven't met Hulk Hogan yet. But you know, I've heard some great things about him. Bushwhacker Luke actually is really good friends with him and was renting a space from him for his fitness center.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, he's got a lot of good stories to tell about Hulk Hogan.
Hmm.
You said you got to know the Iron Sheik. Did he ever
No,
let you juggle
No,
the?
he watched the Iron Sheik.
no, Nikolai Volkov. Nikolai Volkov.
Did Nikolai ever get a chance to do the swing those clubs?
Not that I know of. Nikolai was probably one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, and then being able to meet him was just more incredible because the guy is just such a down to earth person. And you know, he's just an incredible person to just be around, and you know, he's an inspiration. Just a really nice guy. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, one
So,
of his matches that I remember watching was against Corporal Kirshner.
Yeah, Corporal Kirshner.
so did Nikolai ever sing for you too? Because you know that was part of his gimmick.
Yes, he did. He actually sang to open up the show. It was very funny. But yeah, he has some great road stories, and you know, everybody that he worked with. Nikolai was just such a humble guy, and just friends with everybody. Even though he played a heel a lot of the times, everybody loved Nikolai. Nikolai was just a wonderful person to know and meet.
And before we move on, I think one of the best pairings was Nikolai Volkov and the Million Dollar Man when he was part of the Million Dollar Corporation.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't get much of that. I thought that the best one that he had was the Bolsheviks, and that was with you know, him and Iron Sheik and the what is the name? The
Oh, I
Bolsheviks.
know who you're talking about. He had the Boris
Boris.
Zukov.
Boris Zukov, yes. And it's funny. I went to do a booking for Boris Zukov. Boris Zukov nowadays is actually driving a tractor trailer around the United States, which was
Wow.
really cool. Very different.
Okay, I just had a comedy thought on that one, so I have to say it, otherwise it's gonna back up on me. I'm surprised he can find like room for that big head he had in you know, for the top part of that cab.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank God he didn't headbutt anybody else. He had a big old head. He probably knocked somebody out headbutting him.
Yeah, I stay away from him in a truck stop.
That's right.
Hmm. Tell us about some of the comedians you've worked with.
All right. I have worked with Jimmy Walker, who was on Good Times, Kid Dynamite. I've worked with let me see. I've worked with Todd Bridges from Different Strokes, who I'm actually really good friends with. And then also I've worked with Dustin Diamond, who was Screech from Saved by the Bell. So, and of course he has passed, he actually passed on a few years ago, but an incredible guy. All these guys are like, these are some of my favorites. There's another one that I worked with who's a comedian, Willie Tyler and Lester. He's actually one of the first black ventriloquist comedians. And he is an incredible guy, man. You know, he makes his ventriloquist talk and sing and dance and do all types of stuff. Very entertaining. Just a wonderful person. Another one that I worked with that came out to my nightclub to perform and do comedy was Puppet the Psycho Dwarf. And
I remember that guy.
Yeah, Puppet the Psycho Dwarf was on Jackass 3D, and it was really amazing. So he came out and did a show with me, and him being on Jackass 3D, he wanted some crowd participation. So one of the girls came up and stapled a $20 bill to his forehead, and it was incredible. He entertained the whole crowd, but then he asked the crowd, he said, "Do you want me to kick it up a notch?" And they said, "Of course." So what he did then is he actually had one of the girls from the crowd come up and staple a $20 bill to his genitals.
Oh,
which was nuts. So
literally,
very entertaining, and oh my God, it was an incredible show. He was a great performer. He actually passed a few years ago as well, but just a great guy. He was an incredible person.
correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he in TNA for a little bit too?
Yes, he was. He's wrestled and done all types of incredible stuff. Was a great professional wrestler. A lot of people didn't like him. It gets very difficult because you have to address people the right way. One thing that little people don't like being called is midgets.
Yep.
So, and one thing about Puppet the Psycho Dwarf, he said, "I'm a midget." You know, he is what he is, you know, and he would tell you right off the bat, he said, "I'm a midget. You know, you can refer to me as a midget. I won't get offended." A lot of people that are of small stature actually like to be called little person or so forth. You know what I mean? So, and nowadays you got to be careful how you identify people anyway. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Right, but I like that though. He kind of owned what he was, and
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yes, and a lot of people didn't like that, but I mean, he was just an incredible entertainer, and rest in peace, man. You know, Stevie Richards is his real name, Puppet the Psycho Dwarf, and just an incredible entertainer. There's a lot of local celebrities, what I call local celebrities, here in our area that are all over the place that I work with. They're up and coming comedians: Eric Sabin, Damian Robinson, Ray Ubala, Jibba Jab Peace, Sandy Bernstein. I mean, the list goes on. We have a lot of incredible talent, and they would love, to be on shows, as far as like podcasts or radio shows or anything. They're really taking over the circuit here on the East Coast, performing and doing shows. And, it's just working with, different celebrities and talent in the music and entertainment business is just incredible. And it's been an incredible journey too, as well.
So we've talked about the wrestling. We talked about the comedians. Can you tell us some of the singers that you've that you worked with as far as the music side of it?
Okay, let's see. I've done a lot of bookings for different musicians, and as far as like celebrities and so forth. Some of the ones that I've done, I've booked at the Hard Rock Cafe: Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, Blondie. Let's see, who else have I worked with? Busta Rhymes, Tech Nine. Tech Nine is incredible. Are you all familiar with Tech Nine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tech Nine is such a humble person, I tell you, and he's just a great guy. I've worked with Machine Gun Kelly. Tech Nine though is by far my favorite. Tech Nine, what I really was impressed by is we threw a really huge show here in Washington D.C. It was a sold out show, and Tech Nine actually stopped what he was doing to actually shake hands and take a picture with a kid in a wheelchair, which I thought was just it was such a beautiful moment, because a lot of people don't do that anymore, and you have to humble yourself in life. You know what I mean? Because when it comes down to it, we're all human. So for him to do that, really, I had the utmost respect for him doing that. So it was a beautiful thing, man.
That is an awesome thing.
That it is.
Question? Anybody?
So, if you could book one match, doesn't matter from what era, what would it be and why?
Oh, it would be King Kong Bundy and absolutely Big John Studd. And I would want to see them. I would love to see them go against Nikolai Volkov and Iron Sheik in their prime. And then also, I would love to see Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy take on the Road Warriors,
Ooh.
which would be really cool. So yeah, I think that would be a great match.
I agree.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Could you give us a list of your top 5 tag teams of all time?
Yes, King Kong Bundy, Big John Studd, Nikolai Volkov, Iron Sheik, the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. Let's see. I would run with Hulk Hogan and Randy Macho Man Savage. And then also I like the Powers of Pain, the Warlord and the Barbarian.
Ooh.
I think they are really cool.
Again, another team that doesn't get a lot of love because people forget they teamed together.
Yeah, they actually, I've talked with them on the phone. They're really good guys. I'm trying to do some bookings for them, and also Demolition are just incredible down to earth guys. I speak to them on the phone as well. Barry is just an incredible guy. There's so many incredible stories that these guys have to tell, and it's just being able to link in with these guys and talk to them, and just finding out behind the scenes what they do is just incredible to do. You know what I mean? So I love the whole wrestling thing. Some of the things nowadays is I think they need to bring back more managers and just make it a little bit more gritty. There's a lot that the wrestling is missing nowadays. You know what I mean? So I think that if we go by a lot of the old school matches, that we'd be able to really kick it into overdrive nowadays. And I'm not taking anything away from the new talent. The new talent is immaculate, but it's just like it's the same storylines over and over and over and over again. If you look at the guys they had on WWE years ago, Crime Time, they're actually like somebody that we have current nowadays that are on WWE. You know who I'm talking about, right?
I think so.
It's the tag team. It's the tag team that they have with Montez Ford and
Street Profits.
Street Profits.
They're just like Crime Time. They remind me of Crime Time. So it's almost
that's a really good comparison.
Yeah, well, it's almost like the storylines haven't changed. They just brought in new talent. You know what I mean? So, and I know that a lot of these guys are still wanting to wrestle. Gene Snitsky. They've redone his character a few different times with different people on WWE and so forth. But a lot of it is the same characters over and over again. So I think they need to really just like mix it up. And I love the old school. I love all the old school wrestling and everything that it's done, and it's led the way for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And I think you brought them up earlier. Actually, both of them up that I was thinking about earlier. I think they need to bring back a character like a Eugene or a Zach Gowen that could represent the people with disability. Everybody with a disability or something that's different about them.
Yes,
So you
absolutely.
have that feeling, you know what I mean, of
Yeah.
like I can do this, right?
Yes. Well, the beautiful thing is there was no what's the word? With Zach Gowen was 100% legit. You know what I mean? Where Eugene was in character. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
Zach Gowen still wrestles to this day. It's funny because he just dyed his hair. His hair is like blonde, and I just made a comment to him that he looks like a Justin Bieber stand-in. And he started laughing. Yeah, he started laughing. He said, "Oh, that's really funny." But it's true. He has his hair like Justin Bieber, and I thought it was funny seeing his hair dyed like that. But he's a great guy. He does a lot of public speakings, and just being around him and just talking with him, he's an incredible person.
I remember seeing him for the first time on the TNAs where you had to pay for the pay-per-views
Right.
when he was going by the Tenacious Z.
Yes. Yep. Two
And I
penny.
remember because he took the prosthetic off, and I thought, how in the world is he gonna, do that? And he started doing like the moonsaults and the, leg lariats, and I went, okay, I'm into this now.
Yeah, me personally, I like all the villains of all the wrestling federations. I love all the big guys that are characters. From King Kong Bundy to Earthquake to Tugboat. Good Lord, the list. A one man gang. Kamala, the Ugandan giant, another person that I had the pleasure of meeting and becoming friends with, and I think he's underrated, is the Brooklyn Brawler. Brooklyn Brawler Brooklyn Brawler should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. He's an incredible guy. He's played several different positions. He was knuckleball in
Yeah.
wrestling. He was Kimchi, who was Kamala's uh, owner, and then he
Yep.
was, of course, the Brooklyn Brawler, and he also played Doink the Clown as well.
Yep.
So the guy has definitely put his time in. He's been getting beat up for the past 30 something years. So hopefully they can induct him in the Hall of Fame because he's definitely has my vote. And he is an incredible, incredible guy. I'm telling you, down to earth, really wonderful person. Him and his wife are just great people. And this guy's put in his time. I'd love to see him in the Hall of Fame.
I agree. He should be in there. I mean, and just not, for all the reasons you mentioned, plus his backstage work, that he's
Yes.
done and
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Funny he brings up Demolition. That's one of my dream interviews. If we could ever get a dream interview, that'd be them.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Well, maybe I can make it happen. I can talk to him.
we would love that. I mean,
Honestly, that would be a dream interview for me.
I
Yeah.
would love to be part of that one.
in fact,
Cool.
Barry Darso did one of my favorite matches in WCW, which was the blacktop match that he had with Dustin Rhodes, where at Uncensored '95, where they
Wow.
wrestled in the back of the 18-wheeler.
Mm. Oh
Nice.
yes.
I liked him when he was the Russian sympathizer in the NWA.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Although you can't forget about the Repo Man either.
That's it. I'm a huge collector, so every time I would have one of the professional wrestlers come out to my club, I'd have a professional artist come out and they do a painting of all the wrestlers that would come out to my club, and the wrestler at the end of the night would sign the painting. So I have, tons and tons of paintings at my home studio. I'm also a huge, huge collector of action figures, wrestling action figures. I probably have, good Lord, I would say several thousand, which is incredible. So yeah, I have everything you can ever imagine, all the old school wrestling figures, and yeah, really cool.
Yeah, I knew you and I had something in common. I live at a nursing home, and I like on the wall that's like my side of the room. I have nothing but action figures and those Funko toys of like full of like wrestling stuff.
Yeah, I have two original Rey Mysterio masks as well. I have tons and tons of autograph pictures. I used to have them on my wall in my nightclub. My nightclub was 10,000 square feet. So the walls were full of wrestling memorabilia. So eventually, hopefully in the next year or so, I'm going to open up another comedy club and I'm going to base it towards professional wrestling. So that's what I'm trying to do, and just keep it going. Wrestling is a great outlet for people, and it's just I love it. I grew up with it, and I'll probably probably die a wrestling fan as well. But I do. I have a lot of wrestling memorabilia and autographed pictures from New Jack to my God, everybody you can ever even imagine. So it's really cool meeting all these people, and becoming friends with them is just an incredible journey.
Oh, very much so. Um, yeah, we talked about New Jack on our other interview today. I did another podcast with Gary Wolf, and that was the only podcast with New Jack we had to put a parental warning on.
I bet. What's funny is I've heard a lot of incredible stories, and a lot of these wrestlers actually like to smoke marijuana, and it actually helps get rid of their pain and stuff in their legs and so forth. So I mean, me personally, I don't smoke, but I have a lot of friends that do, and I understand, that it helps a lot of these wrestlers through, their pain and stuff. So I mean, yeah, I see that Jesse the Body Ventura actually told an incredible story about his wife, smoking marijuana and helping her through her illness. And he's an avid person right now, speaking on legalizing it around the globe. So I think if it helps you, that's a great thing.
Very much so. Pat, you have a question?
Did you ever hear stories of one of the biggest men in wrestling history, Andre the Giant?
I've heard tons of different stories. I watched his biography. He actually was my first match that I saw when I was 10 years old here in Washington, D.C. He choked Hulk Hogan out in the ring. And I was only 10 years old. I was like, oh my God, poor Hulk Hogan. So it's funny because we actually we would pay for the nosebleed seats as young people, and we would actually go ringside. We'd go sit ringside when there were some empty seats. But what happened is eventually they would catch up with us, and as long as we weren't acting crazy, they'd let us sit ringside. We couldn't afford the seats back then, and now it's working with these wrestlers is just like I said, it's an incredible journey. As I look at you, Pat, you look a little bit like Adrian Adonis, if you know who that is.
Yeah, I know who Adrian
I can
is.
see that.
Yep. And then Anthony actually looks a lot like One Man Gang today. If you saw a picture of one, you had to see One Man Gang how he looks today. He looks just like you could pass as his brother.
Very
wow.
Cool.
That is an honor.
Yes. Really cool.
Adrian Adonis was
Although
one
I don't
of
know
the
if I can
best.
see. I don't know if I can see Tony dressing up like Akeem. Yeah, I don't know if you can pull off the blue and the.
Yeah. He probably couldn't pull that off.
He could blow off the black though.
I'm sure.
So you said you did the comedy, like the one man shows. Was there ever one that, like, after they got done, you were like, wow, I didn't expect those stories to be, as like captivating as they were? I mean, I'm sure you thought everyone was going to be that way, but.
Well, everybody had a great story to tell. That was the beautiful thing about me doing the Legends of Wrestling comedy show. I mean, just finding out some of the stuff that happens behind scenes, from the crazy parties with Ric Flair that everybody talks about him partying. Ric Flair is a party animal. So, that's the funny part. Everybody had a Ric Flair story, and a few people had a Hulk Hogan story, but Ric Flair was the name that came up all the time. And I was like, wow, but yeah, their road stories are incredible. It was funny because I had spoke to, let me see, Brian Knobs Was it Brian Knobs? I spoke to Brian Knobs, and we would go back and forth talking on the phone of the Nasty Boys, and he actually had called me on the phone one night, and he said, "I need you to pull the limousine around." And this was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I actually own a limousine, and I'm like, "Excuse me, who is this?" He said, "This is Brian. I need you to pull the limousine now." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm at home." He said, "What do you mean you're at home? You're supposed to be picking me up." And I'm like, "I'm not in your area." It's funny. He called me the next day apologizing. Yeah, he got my number confused with, somebody else. It was really funny.
So, you got one, Pat?
Yeah. What is your favorite snack or cookie?
Oh, all right. I like Star Crunch. Do you know what Star Crunch is? It's like a chocolate rice. It's like a chocolate Rice Krispie treat.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, those are really good. And then it's funny. My wife actually, no, my niece. I tell you, my favorite snack ever. She makes this thing called strawberry crunch cupcakes, and I tell you what, they are to die for. Have y'all ever had that?
No, but it sounds delicious.
But it sounds
Yeah,
delicious.
She is a professional baker, and oh my God, her desserts are to die for. But her strawberry crunch cupcakes are just incredible. It's funny because she actually brought a dozen to the house, and I was supposed to share them with my wife, and I actually kept on sneaking in the kitchen. God, probably every hour. It was bad. I was like Pookie from New Jack City. Do you know who Pookie is?
Yes.
Yeah, Pookie the crackhead. So I kept on going in the refrigerator and getting these strawberry crunch cupcakes, and 2 days later they were all gone. And I tried to blame it on my grandkids, and my wife wasn't having it. She's like, "You ate all those?" I was like, "Yeah, I ate them all." But yeah, that's probably my
Like, sorry,
favorite.
we'll have to get some more.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, who do you think's doing a better job running a company right now, as far as like WWE or AEW?
Oh, you know what? And I'm going to tell you something, and I really firmly believe this. I believe that Vince McMahon owns the other wrestling company. And the only reason I say that is because I buy action figures, and it's really weird that the company that sells the action figures, Vince McMahon owns, and they're actually selling all the wrestling figures from the other company. So I thought that was really strange. So I think, in my own personal opinion, I think Vince McMahon owns the other wrestling company as quiet as kept. And if you think about it, they're going back and forth with professional wrestlers. So it's like, whoever Vince gets rid of, he's on the other. They're on the other wrestling promotion. So I firmly believe that Vince McMahon owns the other wrestling federation as well. What do you think?
Interesting.
It's an interesting, point. I had heard that other people had said that they thought that Vince had owned both companies. But I hadn't considered the action figure part of it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I might have to go back and rethink my position now.
Well, here's another little caveat to that, though, too, Nathan. What about the video game debacle of AEW? Doesn't it sound a lot like the debacle of 2K20?
Oh, 2K20. Yeah, it does a lot, actually. Because they said they were going to have one, and now it's been almost over a year, and
Yeah, Vince McMahon is very, very smart. So I would not put it past him if he owns the other wrestling league. It's just they're switching out too many people. One thing I was going to say, I think the whole storyline with Bray Wyatt's really weird. I thought he was going to come back and just, start knocking people out and making a heavy pavement. But it's like now the storyline, I guess, died off. What's your opinion on that?
Sick.
Yeah.
Isn't he like mental? Isn't he like out for like mental wellness or something like that?
Some mental wellness issues.
Right.
But you're right.
I like the. I like the whole thing when he came out with the lantern and had the bad guys with him. I thought that was the best storyline. The other one where they're, the puppets and all that stuff was just, I don't know. That was a weird storyline to me. Do you think so?
Yeah, I
Yes.
do. I thought it was like a demented Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what? That's funny. Yeah. And you know what? A lot of people probably don't even know who Mr. Rogers is. But
Well,
yeah,
come on. He
that's
had the best. He had the only thing he was missing was like the little train that went through the side of the house.
that is hilarious. You said that, and that's very true. I would agree with that 100%. Yes, very different.
So, um, I'm kind of bummed out that they ended that storyline. Like, I understand that people need to take care of themselves as far as mental health goes, but they did such a good job of building up Uncle Howdy, and the whole, that
Yeah,
part of it. I wish they would have been able to pay that off, and now it doesn't seem like even if they brought it back that they would do anything with it.
yeah, very true. Very true.
So, um, so do you have a favorite genre of music?
Anything from the 80s, 70s, 80s, up to the beginning of the 90s. I love all old school music. I think old school music is the best music. Do you guys agree or disagree?
I agree.
Well, personally, I prefer like the old school country music because that's kind of what I can sing the best. So,
I got you. One of my favorite artists is Ronnie Millsap. Do you know who that is?
Oh,
Yep.
love
yes.
Ronnie. Love Ronnie
Ronnie
Millsap.
Millsap is one of my favorite country musicians. But it's funny you bring up country. My third great aunt, I never got to meet her, is actually Patsy Cline.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
that's my third great aunt, and I never got to meet her, but I love her music. I think she's a great inspiration.
I never put the spelling of the last name together.
Yeah, well, it's
wow.
it's funny.
That
A lot of people when they hear my last name, they say, "Oh, you're Jewish," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." And they said, I have to tell them it's Klein with a C, and then they understand, like, "Oh, like Patsy Cline." I said, "Yeah, that's my great aunt." And like, "Oh, okay."
I
So
never
very
put that.
funny.
I hadn't
Yeah.
either till now, but
Well, there you
Oh,
go. The secret is
wow.
unrevealed.
uh, do you guys have another question,
I have no other questions.
hmm.
Tony?
Um, there's probably so many just running through my head. Well, we did the comedy, we did the act, we did the wrestlers. What about acting? Um, acting part.
Okay. Well, me myself, I'm a professional actor. I'm actually working at a place called Field of Screams, and it's number one in the nation. It comes out in October. We do it all through the month of October, where we dress up, they do our makeup up, and we scare people. It's a 2 mile hike where they walk through like a forest and so forth, which is really, really intense. Me personally, a lot of people like to scare little kids. I'm just not into it. What I mean? I like scaring the adults better. It's more fun because you get a lot of tough guys that come through and they're like, "Oh, I'm not scared," and then I jump out and scare them, and they're like, "Oh man, you got me." What I mean? So staying in character is a really cool thing. But also in this area, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, I am the originator of the escape rooms. If you know what
Mm,
that is. And I
yes.
have a professional actor. His name is Leo Rogstad. He is my zombie. So he is our live zombie, and he scares the hell out of everybody that comes through. And we have a blast. I also own a smash room where people go into the room and they break everything up 15 minutes, and they take out all their frustration, breaking TVs with sledgehammers and baseball bats and golf clubs and just have a great time. I own a lot of different businesses. I'm sure I've missed a bunch of them, but probably about 20 different businesses. I'm always helping people out start businesses. My happiness in life is finding and helping people that are looking to start businesses and become successful. And I get happy when they're happy. You know what I mean? Being able to help people is a wonderful thing, and a lot of people think you need money to be successful. You really don't. You just need to know the right people, and the right people can help you do things. So that is always a plus. When I grew up, it was crazy. I actually grew up very poor. I only had one pair of shoes. And it was weird. As I got older, I started watching Andy Griffith a lot more. And I was like, my God, I grew up kind of like Opie from Mayberry. If you look at Opie, the way he dressed, I was dressed like that when I was younger. It was crazy. I was like, my God, my parents dressed me like Opie Taylor, so that was very weird seeing that. I was like, Jesus, but time comes about, and you start finding your way in life. And today, I don't own just one pair of shoes. I'm actually a shoe head. I probably have like 200 or 300 pair of shoes. I wear them once or twice and then clean them off and put them up and, match them up with different outfits and so forth. I actually own a security company as well here in the Maryland area. So if you look, that's what I'm in. I'm in a security outfit now. And I ended up buying a gift shop for my wife. I mean, I'm constantly buying businesses, and I own a 20-passenger limo party bus, and I do as much as possible. The beautiful thing is when you can do something, do it. Don't wait for tomorrow. If you can do it today, do it. Don't wait until tomorrow. Make sure you live life to the fullest, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. What I mean? So be happy, be a good person, and keep it moving. I ran into a young man in the lobby yesterday who is special needs. He has Down syndrome, and I went and started talking to him. And in his bag, he's an 18-year-old kid. In his bag that he showed me, he pulled out a bunch of wrestlers. And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! How coincidental!" So we started talking, and I started, showing him wrestling pictures, and come to find out, he needs a mentor. And I was like, I'd love to mentor him. He's a beautiful kid, and I've dealt with a lot of special needs people in general. One thing I did about, I want to say 15 years ago, I drove a cab to make some extra money. And I had a guy get into my cab, and he was actually blind. And he says to me, thank you for picking me up. I want to let you know, a lot of people don't give me an opportunity because I have a disability. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I'm disabled. I said, in what sense? And he said, well, I'm blind. I said, well, I guess I'm disabled also. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm fat. And he started laughing. And I told him, I said, look, I said, everybody has some type of disability, but the thing is we have to get through that. Love one another. Treat everybody the same. Don't treat anybody any different. But it was funny because I was his favorite cab driver. I would play jokes on him, and he would laugh his butt off. I would pull up, and I'd disguise my voice like I was from India, like, hello, sir, I'm here to pick you up and take you to the airport. And he said, no, I'm waiting for Daryl. I said, sir, please get in. And I would disguise my voice, and I played jokes on him constantly. And it's such a blast when you can treat people, just treat them regular. Don't treat them any different. Even though they may have something that's a little bit different, a special need or whatever the case is, treat them normal, man. We're all beautiful people down deep inside. And, that's the best thing that, I can offer is just treating people equal. I firmly believe there's only one race, and that's the human race. And, I love everybody. If you love me, I love you back. And that's the way life should be. You know what I mean? So that's the beautiful thing. And, I just keep it that way. And it's, I have a lot of friends. If anybody wants to friend me on social media, I got about 10 different pages that are full, but we can make room, we'll figure it out.
And
Yes.
I love that you said that, because I live by a motto too. And that I'm going to say this to everybody that has a disability. Right? Never let your disability stop you from doing anything. because you make the decision on what you do. Your disability is just a part of who you are. So
That's
you
right.
have to make the step to make that thing happen, but don't let people or your disability stop you from doing that.
That's right. And love everybody, man. Life is too short for hate. It's crazy with the way I grew up. Back in the day, you couldn't hang with certain people because of their color or their religion or whatever the case was. And me, I love everybody, man. That's what makes it incredible with me in high school. Where we had the different cliques. I was friends with everybody. I went to every single party. You have different parties, and it was like me being friends with everybody in high school. I was invited to every single party, and nowadays it's like if you come to my cookout, it looks like the United Nations. I have people from all different religions and colors, and we all have a blast. And everybody's like, "Wow, you got a lot of friends." I said, "Well, you got to be open minded. Love everybody. Love everybody. It's just the way it is." And we're only here for a short period of time. Time goes by really fast, and I've been blessed to live the life I live, and it just gets better and better day by day. I couldn't ask for more.
Amen to that.
Yeah, you brought up your buddy with Down syndrome. Nathan and I are Special Olympics athletes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So what have you
Yep.
guys participated in?
I do bowling, and I'm also
Okay.
a Special Olympics ambassador. So
Sweet.
And I do basketball, swimming, softball, and football. And I'm also a Special Olympics ambassador.
Awesome.
Yes.
And Anthony, I guess you feel left out. You don't do any of that?
Actually,
he's the coach.
I coach and I help run the leadership program, and my normal 9 to 5 job is working with developmentally disabled adults in the community. In fact, this whole podcast, if I might indulge a little bit on this,
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
was the brainchild of Nathan. He's one of my clients for my actual regular job.
Oh, cool.
And his goal was, I want to do a podcast. I want to interview wrestlers. I want to interview these people. I want to interview this. I want to interview that. So we went and we found StreamYard, and we've been doing this, since February, March?
Yeah.
Cool.
And we've been interviewing and we've been getting like big. Our first interview that we ever did together on the podcast was Levi Cooper, or you might know him as Tucker Knight of the WWE.
Okay.
That was
cool.
That was our very first interview. Then we got bigger than that. Then we got Vertigo Rivera, who is the son-in-law of Alpha of the Wild Samoans.
Cool.
And upcoming May, we get to interview the NWA U.S. Tag Team Champions, the Country Gentlemen.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and each time I think it's about ready to stop or we don't get more interviews, we are now actually booked through the entire summer. We are now actually booked through August.
Sweet.
So this little brainchild of Nathan's here has blown into a major podcast, and if we can start getting some bigger names in here, I don't think we get to start calling ourselves up and coming anymore, because boys, I think you've arrived.
Yep. And the cool part, there's one cool part that just happened. We're working with a company down here called CPW. It's called Combat Pro Wrestling. And Tony and I came up with a storyline, and so I got to play a heel and do my first wrestling character for and we're working a whole storyline out. In fact, our first interview of the day was building that storyline.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I,
So,
I wanted to tell you about, so my cousin who is about 44 years old, he has Down syndrome. So, and he's a huge wrestling fan. So he would come and stay with me, a few weeks. Well, it was only supposed to be overnight, but he ended up staying a few weeks and we had a blast. But he has Down syndrome and I took him out to get his glasses fixed. And he sings and he acts and he does all types of cool stuff. But what he did was he was acting at the wrong time. So we went to get his glasses fixed at one of the eye centers, and there must have been 100 people in there. And he falls on the ground and starts acting like he's having a seizure. And the lady's like, everybody's staring and freaking out. And I looked down at him, he smiled at me and winked. And I said, get your butt up. And he jumped up to his feet and he said, am I a good actor? And I said, you're the best actor, but you can't do that in here. But it was really funny because he had everybody in the whole place thinking that, he was having a seizure or something. And I'm like, you can't do that in here, man. But it was, yeah, he got us good. It was so funny. Yeah, really good.
yes. Yeah. But, so, I wouldn't change any of this for the world. So, but this whole, it's like I said, this whole podcast was Nathan's brainchild because it was a goal for work.
Yep. And what started that was, like I said before, I did one before with Gary Wolf, but it ended and I never got a chance to do it again, but always wanted to.
Wow. Pat, what is that tattoo on your arm of?
Sharks.
Okay.
My body's covered in tattoos pretty much.
I own a tattoo studio as well. I told you I'd forget something. It's called Legit Ink Tattoos and Piercings. If you go on Facebook, you can see some of the work we do. But we do a lot of custom work. You think it, we ink it. So you sit down with us, we consult you, and then I have professional artists that draw what you want. And if you like it, we put it on you. If not, we redo it and keep it moving. But yeah, so that's another one of the businesses I have.
Wow.
Very cool.
Nathan, do you have any tattoos?
No, but I'm looking to get some.
There you go. How about you, Anthony?
No, I don't.
Good. Stay pure. They're very addictive. When you get one, you end up getting another one and then another one and then another one after that. My son, I took him to get one tattoo when he was younger, and now his whole body's covered in them. He's actually a hip hop artist in Atlanta, Georgia, really famous. His name is Tuesday Night Swim. If you look at his videos, he's got some really cool music videos. He's a good kid too.
Nice.
If I counted correctly, I have 9 tattoos.
Oh, you're just getting started.
Yeah, you're just getting started.
My whole chest, my sleeves.
Wow.
Yeah.
And my legs.
Yeah.
That's cool. Pat, are you in Washington State as well?
I am.
Where are you at?
Same city as Nathan and Anthony.
Yep. Which is Longview.
Have you all ever went to Tillicum? Do you know where that's at?
I think I've been there a few times.
I drove through there a couple times.
Yeah, it's up by Fort Lewis.
It used to be the spot to go to right outside of Fort Lewis. Everybody would go into there. It's the party place.
Yeah. It's up by Fort Lewis,
Yeah. I was stationed in the Army back in 88 to 92 at Fort Lewis working with field artillery. So incredible job. Yeah, they tricked me. I went in the military when I was 17 years old. As soon as I graduated high school, I went in the delayed entry program and went into the military. They told me I was going to be stationed in Washington. I thought Washington, D.C. They sent me to Washington State, and I had never seen or heard of anything like that. I was like, what do you mean we're getting on a plane? So I went to Washington State, and it's probably my second favorite place in the world. The people are incredible. And when I was in there, for every one guy, there was 10 women. And I love women, man, I tell you. And it was just a wonderful experience meeting people out there. And everybody was so beautiful. The only thing that was really crazy, it rained 24 hours out of the day. I mean, it was nonstop. So you had to constantly have an umbrella with you. So, but a lot of fun. And, it's one of my favorite places.
Nothing's changed. It still rains.
I was going to say, not much has changed.
Yeah. Have you all ever been in the Space Needle?
Yes.
I have.
You
I
have?
haven't, but I want to.
Oh
I
my
never
god, the
have.
food is good.
I never have neither. Is the food expensive in there?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to go with you guys then because I'm poor.
I can't afford it now, but
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure if we pulled our money together, we could get appetizers, baby.
Or get a coffee. We can share a coffee.
now if you're
There you
talking
go.
about really
We
good
just get like
food,
really tiny cups. That way we
Yeah.
feel like we're filling up on more of the stuff.
Right, right.
if you're talking about really good food, there's a place in Olympia, Washington called Tugboat
Okay.
Annie's.
Yep,
And
I saw that picture yesterday, by the way.
oh my god, the food is delicious. Reasonable price.
Gotcha. Do you all have any links to any little people that would like to become professional wrestlers or little divas? Please send them my way.
We definitely will.
We will
We're
put that
starting
out to
get
our wrestling friends. Definitely.
Yes,
Yep, I'm looking more or less. I'd like to have little divas because you know how Vince McMahon has the divas. I want to do little divas. I have a lot of people that inquire about being little divas with my company, and they're from different states. So I mean, from different parts of the country. So I'm looking for some people in the United States that would like to be, you know, little divas or little professional wrestlers. And yeah, I'm always looking for talent and you know anybody that's interested in doing anything, you know, have them give me a
God,
ring.
definitely will. And
We
we
will
will pass
definitely
that
keep our
message
eyes out
along.
for that and go for, definitely.
Also, and anybody that would like to be interviewed and put into one of my magazines, I would love that. Do you guys have a flyer for your podcast?
We can make one and send it to you. I mean,
Yeah, so make me a nice flyer. If not, I got a team that can do it, or I can do it. You know, just need your information, and I can put you know, in my magazine as well. I can put you in there. You know, one of the ads so people can see you guys.
very cool.
That would be very cool. Yeah, my
That
wife's our graphic designer, so she does all our flyers and everything for us. So
Sweet. Yeah, so definitely, yeah. Send me some a flyer, and I can throw them into my magazines. So that would be a good thing for you guys.
or
Very
yeah,
cool.
we can start a flyer, and then if you guys want to spruce it up, you
Yeah.
can. Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, I
Sounds
appreciate
good.
you guys letting me be on your podcast. It was wonderful being a guest and meeting you guys. And if anybody ever needs to get in touch with me, they can go to DCPW. I'm sorry, DC Professional Wrestling at yahoo.com, or they can call me 301 672 8007. I'm all over social media, DC Productions, or they can go to dcproductionsworldwide.com. So I do just about everything. I have a petting zoo. I have a limo service. I DJ. I book professional wrestlers. I mean, the list goes on. I keep going and going and going till there's nothing left. So you know, it is what it is, man. You got to just keep on shooting for the stars and doing what you do.
Yeah.
I wish you guys the best of success, and it was great talking to you guys. If you ever need anything, feel free to give me a call.
Absolutely.
Sounds
Hey,
good.
and if you have any of your talent that wants to be on our podcast, definitely
Yeah,
hook
let
us
us
up.
know.
I sure will. Send me a flyer, and we'll definitely make some things happen for you guys. I have a lot of comedians. If you guys want to interview some comedians, I got a
Yeah,
lot.
definitely.
Absolutely.
We would be
Absolutely
very interested. But yes, we will
cool.
get
Very
you a flyer in the next couple of days. I will either email it to you or send it to you via text.
Sounds good, guys. Well, God bless you guys, and thank you, Nathan, Anthony, and Pat. If you ever need anything, and just give me a holler. And if you're over here on the East Coast, come see me.
We
Sounds great.
definitely will.
Sounds
Absolutely.
good.
Bless
Thank
you
you so
guys.
much.
All
You
right.
all be safe. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Bye bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes another outstanding interview from our host and our co-host. So, in closing, I'd just like to say, you know, be well to each other. Again, God rest Jerry Springer. Love you. Until next time, I bid you adieu. help control the pet population, have your host and co-host spaded or neutered. Peace!